If you had a difficult childhood, one where you had to be the way that other people told you, and any way that you tried to express your authentic self got shut down, then you missed out on learning a key secret to setting boundaries. This secret is something that probably nobody in your life has actually ever told you, and that will run counter to your current way that you think about interpersonal relationships. In fact, it's pretty radical, and it's probably going to turn the way that you see relationships upside down. Here it is. Other people love it when you set boundaries. Now, hearing that, you might go, that's not true. I've tried setting boundaries and other people hate it. And that's very valid. I'm not here trying to deny your experience. Some people can get very pissed off with us when we start setting boundaries in our lives with them. But that doesn't mean that there's not some part of them that doesn't like it, and that also there's other people who do in fact enjoy it when we set good boundaries. Also, notice if when I say other people like it when you set boundaries, if there's this little people pleaser part of yourself that goes, "Ooh, other people like that." Just notice that. And notice any other reactions you have when I share this truth as well. Your reactions come from a real place inside you, but it's a place that's been conditioned since you were a child by your family of origin to be a very specific way. You've probably been unconsciously playing out that conditioning your whole life, and it's why you struggle to have happy and healthy relationships. So it's time that we consciously looked at those unconscious beliefs and started to question them. We'll start with the most important thing you need to know about boundaries. Then we'll take a look at why you feel like you have no right to have boundaries. And then we'll end with why people do in fact love it when you set really clear, strong boundaries and how this benefits both them, but also you. So let's start with that most important thing. I've framed this whole video about being what other people think, but really, it's got nothing to do with them and everything to do with you. Boundaries are not for other people, they are only for you. It doesn't matter whether other people do or don't like your boundaries. Other people's thoughts, feelings, and actions are not your property. Boundaries are not a way of trying to get other people to like you. Boundaries are a way of you trying to get yourself to like you. It's really important that you understand that as someone who struggles with boundaries, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to heal and grow. Boundaries are for you to learn to take care of yourself and take actions that take care of yourself. And by taking care of yourself, you become someone who starts to like themselves. Why do we struggle with this in the first place? Surely something so fundamental is something that should come naturally to us. Well, it does. However, when many of us were growing up, we weren't able to authentically express our boundaries. Our families of origin may not have respected them, and maybe this was intentional, maybe this was even unintentional. But however it was, we learned instead that I am not allowed to have boundaries, and I need to be whoever these other people think I need to be. And you did this without thinking because you had no choice, and it was a brilliant survival strategy. But now, as an adult, you're carrying around this idea that kept you safe when you were two, but that is dysfunctional now that you're older. And it's not only dysfunctional, it is untrue and it is dangerous. Let me start with why it's untrue. It's untrue because other people actually do find it very helpful when you set good, clear boundaries. When you share a boundary with someone, you tell them who you are. Boundaries create a clear structure around your life that says, I am here, you are there, here is what you can do to me, and here is what you are not allowed to do to me. And this helps you look after yourself because it prevents you from falling into situations where other people take advantage of you. And it prevents you from getting lost in other people's property and focusing on your own. It also happens to be super attractive. Other people love other people who have a good sense of self and have good standards for themselves. Even the people who might claim to hate that. And sure, there are some manipulative, toxic types of people out there, but honestly, that's quite rare. The vast majority of people want to date and work with and be friends with other people who have really solid senses of self and a really great, clear communication of what they will and won't put up with. And the reason behind this is that you can only really truly give to others when you have enough for yourself. It's that classic fill your own cup before you give to others line. Strong, healthy boundaries ensure that your cup is full, and then that reassures other people that when you do give to them, it's coming from a reliable source. Because other people do want to trust you, and demonstrating boundaries is how you get other people to trust you. Sharing your boundaries is like giving someone your instruction manual. It provides clarity and structure on how to get the best out of you and what to do when things aren't working so well. And this feels really reassuring for them because they genuinely know where they stand with you. Whether they are conscious of it or not, and most people actually aren't, other people are very sensitive to truth and they can feel when something isn't quite right. And this means they can feel when you're not being entirely truthful with them. And that uncomfortable feeling when they cross a boundary with you, but you don't say anything and you just withhold your feelings and your thoughts, is what causes most anger and resentment in relationships. Because it causes you to feel resentful towards them because you haven't expressed when they've crossed a boundary. And it causes them to be angry with you because you're not being honest with them. You lied to them. So having a clear sense of who you are, where you stand, what you do and don't tolerate is really, really good, not just for you, but also for creating the relationships that you want in your life. And this probably sounds foreign to you if you grew up with childhood trauma. What do you mean that other people want me to have boundaries and be myself? Surely the best thing that I can do for other people is to be the person that they want me to be. Surely that would make their lives easier. No, not anymore. When we become adults, we become able to break free from the expectations that our caregivers set upon us when we were children for who we were allowed to be. We can break free from the pattern of looking to other people to tell us who we are, what we're allowed to like, what we're allowed to do. This pattern is childish because it comes from a wonderful little place within you that's still looking for mummy and daddy to tell you how to be. It's still looking for mummy and daddy's approval. But you're a grown up now. You don't need mummy and daddy's approval. And so the reason why many of us struggle to be adults and to function in the world healthily and happily is because we're still functioning from that young place. And we're still functioning from that young place because we were never allowed to learn how to be ourselves as children. And so this means that if we're 30, 40, 50 years old, we've spent most of our lives being disconnected from our true self. We've missed out on decades of practice being our authentic self. And this is where it gets dangerous if we then don't learn how to set boundaries and how to develop a stronger sense of self. You see, the part of us that operates by molding ourselves to be whoever we think the other person needs us to be is very young and very vulnerable. It probably stopped developing when we were about 2 years old. And so basically, it has the emotional and intellectual capacity of a 2-year-old. And you wouldn't trust a 2-year-old not to eat Play-Doh, let alone run your entire life. And this is why we need to get back in touch with that poor, scared, vulnerable little part of ourselves so that we can then take our adult, responsible part of ourselves and look after it so that that little bit of ourselves isn't running our lives anymore. Because there's a lot of pressure for a 2-year-old. And if we don't do this, then we start to fall into basically 3 traps. The first trap is shutting down so totally that we don't even realize we're shut down. We cut ourselves off at the head from our emotions and we just go up here and we live our lives up here, just disconnected from how we actually feel and what we actually want. And then 60 years go by and suddenly we're 80 and we're on our deathbed and we realize we haven't lived an actual life. But it's too late. The second trap is burning out. People with poor boundaries make brilliant high achievers because they've got no sense of actually taking care of themselves, so they will just self-sacrifice for whatever goal outside of themselves that they feel like other people want. They will work, 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 work. And the ultimate consequence of this is either they die an early death because of stress and they've overworked themselves, or, and this is more common, it's just unsustainable. And eventually they collapse, and eventually it all starts to come crashing down and their life falls apart because they can't bear the weight of that lies of being inauthentic anymore. And then the third trap is actually going the other way and allowing other people to dominate us and manipulate us and tell us how we can live our lives. This is how people get stuck in toxic relationships because they don't have a sense of self outside of what someone else tells them who they can be. And now, of course, there are many more ways that having poor boundaries can be dangerous for your life, but this is pretty much the three most common areas. And most of us with poor boundaries have been in at least one of these. I'm not here to judge. I've fallen into a lot of this myself. But now as adults, it is our responsibility to pull ourselves out of it. I'm not going to go into depth here on how to create the boundaries to do that. I have already made several videos on that topic. See one linked up here. Actually, it might be this side. Just know that it all starts with changing your belief that other people don't want me to have boundaries. Like from that belief to I want boundaries. And when I have boundaries, I help other people in my life. As a wise person once said, the greatest gift you can give to someone else is taking care of yourself. And so that's the secret that you weren't taught about boundaries if you grew up in childhood trauma. Other people love it when you have boundaries. Let me know in the comments your experiences with trying to set boundaries and how you feel about this topic. Please hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.